Payroll, benefits, compliance. What a headache. That's unless you've got Deal. Now, Deal PEO, it makes hiring in the U.S. simple. And right now, as a WorkTech listener, you can get up to 3 months free at deal.com/workdefined. That's DEEL.com/WRK defined.
HR tech, work tech, and investment are transforming the future of work. Are you in the know? Welcome to the WorkTech podcast. Join host George LaRocque for expert insights on the trends, M&A activity, and strategies shaping the workplace. Brought to you by oneworktech.com and the Work Defined Podcast Network.
Okay, new podcast up next at WorkTech, episode 1, because the world needed one more podcast. And Kate and I thought we're the ones that are going to deliver it.
That we did. So here we are. We're here to talk to you about what's happening in the world of WorkTech.
That's right.
Welcome.
That's right. And up next is your famous podcast, WorkTech is Mine. It was like peanut butter and chocolate. We felt it had to come together. And I also think we have what I love about the Devon Group and your company and your view is I think you have a unique lens that is yes, rooted in our world of HR tech, but a business lens. And that's what I like. I feel like I aspire to do that as well. So I feel like we can have a different take on things, a slightly different take for folks. That's why I thought the world needed this podcast.
Absolutely. Maybe it's a Jersey thing.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'll put that on it. All right. So what are we talking about this week?
What are we talking about this week? I think, well, you brought to my attention today that October 1st has passed.
Mm-hmm.
And I had forgotten that I was waiting for something on October 1st, since I feel like you should get all the credit to talk about this one, to lead this one. So what was supposed to happen on October 1st, and what have we discovered, what we've discovered, I guess.
So October 1st was going to be the case management date for the Workday Mobley trial that is ongoing. And while you and I were getting ready to record today, I had said, hey, it's not October 1st anymore. What happened? I haven't heard anything. And so we were wondering what's been going on with the case, because I haven't heard anyone say anything. And, here we are, week and a half later. And
Yep.
so what have we uncovered, George?
We uncovered that they did have the meeting. There is I guess it's an order regarding the opt-in plan for the case. So, in summary, they came together and the court has given very specific direction about the plaintiffs needing to come up with the process as far as how this will proceed, about putting this on social media with very specific language. So I find the language very interesting. It's the court providing social posts basically to get folks to identify whether they feel they should participate in this class action. Here, there are 3 of them. Applied for a job through Workday after September 24th, 2020 and got rejected? And that's it? Were you over 40 when you applied, and do you believe your application was screened out by AI due to your age? That's the second post. And the third is, you might be eligible to challenge those decisions in a lawsuit. Visit the following website. And then obviously they have to create the website, so there's no link yet. But they come back on October 15th to review what's been put together. So these are, it's moving forward. What are the implications of this, the fact that it's moving forward? And also, why are we discovering this? Why was this not covered anywhere? I'm very curious.
I don't know if it's just because there's so much happening in the world right now.
Right.
Or, Workday just has so much going on that they were able to, have this kind of kept quiet.
Yeah.
Also in this, what came out of this conference, though, as I scroll down, because, one of the things that Workday was sort of fighting was they don't want their list of customers released. They were saying that was prejudicial. So if you scroll down, one of the things that came out of this case management conference, it says about the employers that it's going to be by October 7th, which has already passed, it was going to be designated for attorneys' eyes only.
I see that.
So I guess they did have to release that to legal counsel at least, but it's being protected for now, it appears.
That always goes well, though, so that there's nothing to worry about with
Oh,
that.
no, nothing to worry about there. Nothing ever gets leaked ever. But apparently, Workday was able to at least keep that quiet at this point. So I was talking to Jerry Crispin earlier this week about the case, and we were saying that if that list was released, because that is a potentially huge list,
Mhm.
that could have huge ramifications for the industry in
Right.
general. Because, I mean, disclosing hundreds, thousands of potential employers,
Yeah. Yeah,
you know,
thousands. It's especially at a time like this when the case in and of itself there's an inflection point for those customers. This is one of the best issues to create FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt if you're a competitor. Also, I think for the most part, it's not the big logos that Workday has. Everybody already knows about those, but it's, who's invested in Workday that might be in the middle market where their solutions might not quite be a fit. They might not even be aware of the case. That's a really, really good point.
hmm
I wonder if they'll reveal that. I wonder if,
yeah, it's under protective order for now, but yeah, that would be a very dangerous precedent, I think, to set for the industry if
yeah,
that gets lifted at some point
yeah,
or leaked. So,
yeah,
but so that is what's happening with that case for anyone who didn't know, which I'm guessing might be a lot of people, since we also did not know until George found that
yeah. So
in our conversation.
the wheels of justice are turning. That process is moving along.
Yeah,
That's
the
good to see. Something's
yeah.
working out there.
Yes, the
And
class action suit is moving forward
yeah,
though. So for anyone
I'm
over
not
40,
yeah, yeah, whatever the outcome, I'm just
mhm,
the fact that, the wheels, the machinery is
mhm.
moving is good, is good.
Yes, keep an eye on your socials. You might see the website pop up soon.
Yeah, I can't wait to see those posts.
That
They're that's going to be there's gonna be a lot. I think people are gonna have fun with that at Workday's expense.
yeah, it'll be different from the Billy Idol ads and the,
Yeah,
Gwen Stefani and all of those ones that I've been
right.
seeing online for a while.
True, true.
Yes.
So what's next? What's next on our list?
Well, one of the other things that popped up this week repeatedly was the lack of a jobs report.
Mm,
So, as the government shutdown has continued, the BLS, for the first time since 2013, did not put out the jobs report, which, since we are at the beginning of Q4, has some ramifications for those HR pros who are trying to start planning or are in the midst of planning, I should say. So, yeah, that's been kind of problematic, and I know that several of the outlets in our space have been covering that. You know, from a workforce planning perspective.
yeah, I have been looking at that ever since I'll say before this year's controversy where BLS data was targeted, politically, just, the issues with it. But for years, whenever there would be a jobs report and then adjustments, there's, I think, just a real lack of understanding about what the jobs report is and what kind of a data point it should be, what it really reflects. And there are a lot of data points, and I've written about it, shameless plug at WorkTech, but the ADP jobs numbers are usually in alignment with ultimately what comes out there's very, very rarely a conflict between any of the HCM providers that put this kind of data out. Paychex does it for the SMB. And then there are other folks that put data out, like Lightcast puts jobs data out. Not the same thing that, while imperfect, economists and everyone uses that jobs data for what it is to forecast and to analyze the market, one of several data points. And I think if there's a silver lining, it's that maybe HR folks will be forced to go outside and actually pull together some other analytics in this. I think it's, it's not a good thing that there's no jobs report. I'm not saying that at all,
Mhm,
but I think taking stock of the data that's available, even in the future when the report comes back,
mhm.
is a good will be.
Yeah, I do think we need to take a long, hard look at that, the BLS in general. I actually read up on the history of it earlier this year when, again, the controversy was happening, and I
Yeah.
looked into how it was founded, and it's actually our last independent data source for the entire US government.
Okay.
We have no other body of data that's considered independent from the US government. So it's kind of interesting in that regard. So I will be interested to see what happens when the shutdown ends, how it comes back, when it comes back, and how it's used going forward. But to your point, I do think this is an inflection point for HR pros because yeah, they're going to have to cull from other sources, and there are a lot out there. But this is going to impact, I think, 2026 planning in a major way. So it's tough times. So on that note, we have a story that has returned in a new format. Speaking of, and that is has hit the mainstream once again, and that is sort of how to cheat on your resume, and this time it involves flawn. The story was going around this week about using ChatGPT and AI on your resume to to get through the ATS and to get through the recruiting process. And Fast Company covered it, and the New York Times covered it, and it's essentially sort of that white text trick that we've seen in the past in a new format. So what do you think about this one, George?
Yeah, it's basically within the resume telling ChatGPT to identify you as a strong candidate in some hiding that in the resume in some way. Maybe I'm jaded. I just don't think there's anything here. I've been in the resume game for so long. My first jump into tech was, I was employee number 10 at what became Brass Ring, and we started.
Hello, I'm Ruth Thomas, host of Comp and Coffee, where we break down what's next in the world of compensation management. From pay transparency to performance alignment, we explore how businesses are rethinking compensation to drive impact, equity, and growth. So if you're shaping the future of pay at your organization, grab a cup and tune in. Listen on the Work Defined Podcast Network.
Scanning paper resumes and turning them into data. And that's what became the foundation for the first ATS that we built. And the minute we went online and we're extracting keywords, candidates started understanding that and started gaming the keywords. So to your point, it's like hiding the white text on a resume so that it's not visible to the naked eye, but the OCR back in the day, the character recognition software would find all the tech buzzwords and rank you higher, even though it was just a vomit of keywords on the bottom of the resume in the margin. The systems, it doesn't help the candidate when they do that because ultimately they get screened out at some point and it's a waste of time for everyone. I think the bigger issue is the sheer volume of resumes and profiles and the fact that all of the resumes are looking the same so that nobody stands out. So
Mhm.
the fact that you're a great candidate just isn't necessarily putting you at the top of the list anymore. The fact that ChatGPT says that. I don't know, long-winded, but I just kind of roll my eyes when I see this.
Is the problem the resume then? I know that's something that comes up periodically. Is the resume dead? Do we need to rethink that entirely? You know, is it
Yeah.
that?
Again, I'm really jaded, Kate. I am so jaded. I haven't seen. A lot of people have said this to me over the years. Resume, it's dead, and it's like, okay, I'm with you. It's dead. Tell me what is replacing it.
Mhm.
And you go through all these machinations of the skills and the profile and then okay, so what am I left with? Wow, that looks just like a resume. It's just the fact that we are as candidates and employees at some level we're a bunch of metadata about our skills and that's just sort of following us around into systems. I guess that's replacing the resume, but anybody outside of our little bubble that I know that is working in a from student to professional role, they have one. And
Mhm.
it's the currency. So I don't know if that's where the focus should be as much as fixing the process once the resume kicks it off. And again, I'm jaded.
No, that's fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
What
like
do you think? Should we do away with it?
no, I to your point, I don't think we can. It's like Netflix was gonna disrupt cable, and now we're back to essentially having cable again, Like, I have all these streaming services that I have to watch ads, and all I really wanna do is be able to just change the channel
Right.
again. Like, it's like we've just come back in a
Yeah.
circle. So, again, if we replace the resume, what do we replace it with, and are we just gonna end up back in the same place? Probably.
Yeah.
So,
That's a
I'm kinda
great
with you.
analogy because I'm a YouTube TV in a YouTube TV family, and it's like this is just like the cable,
Yeah.
that we left, and costs
Yeah.
about the same now. So
Yeah. Yeah, and
yeah.
I was listening to someone this week, I was listening to another podcast, and they were like, sometimes I just wanna be able to turn on the Food Network for 5 minutes while I eat my tamale before it gets cold, and then I wanna turn it off." And I was
Yeah.
like, "That's really true." I don't wanna spend all the time to find what I want. Same thing with the resume.
Yeah.
Like, I don't wanna have to dig through. I don't wanna have to, go through all the rigmarole to change this when the one pager has worked for years and years.
Right. Right.
So that brings us to, hey, what's going on in M&A this week?
M&A, there weren't any major announcements this week, but we are coming off of a flurry of activity this past month with in the last 2 weeks, Workday announced that they acquired Sana. They also just about a month prior or less than a month prior had acquired Paradox, Sana being a learning company, AI forward learning company, Paradox being AI driven frontline recruitment, and SAP slash Success Factors acquiring SmartRecruiters. There are, I can tell you, just based on what crosses my desk every day, there are announcements coming. There are big and small acquisitions in the works, and it is generally the market's consolidating, not getting smaller, but the current crop of SaaS and AI forward SaaS providers are consolidating and opening up some new lanes in the market. So it's a fun time out there right now.
Yeah, I think the only acquisition I saw, I think it was this week, Sage acquired Criterion HCM.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think I saw that one was this week, and then SAP set the timeline for what they're gonna do with Smart Recruiters.
Okay. Okay.
Those were like the only sort of announcements I saw related to
Yeah. I
A.
I know that I knew the Smart Recruiters deal officially closed. So I did see like the people at SAP could finally really talk about it,
Yes.
but I hadn't seen that. I need to go find that timeline. So now,
I can send it to you.
okay. We're getting past every acquisition starts with everything's going to stay the same, and all the
Mhm.
customers are going to be so happy, and that can be true, but there's always some integration and
Mhm.
some personnel movement of personnel and whatnot. So is it more product roadmap stuff or
The way it reads, they're gonna replace success factors with smart recruiters over the next 3 to 5 years.
okay?
So that's the way it reads. So
Yeah,
there you go. That's
not
that's
yeah, that makes
that's
sense
that's the
actually.
headline.
Yeah,
So,
that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
That makes good
Um,
sense.
yeah.
On the funding front, I'm still finalizing Q3 numbers. It looks like another big quarter, but I think the big headline for funding is the sentiment right now is from the first day of the HR Tech conference until today, I'd say every conversation with every investor that I'm having, they're saying things like, it's like 2021 again in HR tech. There's a lot of deals in the pipe, a lot of capital getting deployed. I think I said this to you in the last week or so. Walking from that perspective, investor sentiment perspective, walking into HR tech was like when the Wizard of Oz goes black and white to color. Like went from like cautiously optimistic, yes, we're deploying capital. We're watching, we'll see where things go, to, oh my God, you know, we're ready to deploy this money and, let's get to work. And it's pretty much been that way ever since. So I expect barring any major changes in the economy on the negative side, I expect a big close to the year from a VC perspective.
Cool. Yeah, no, I feel like the second half of this year, we've started to see some big numbers, some big rounds. And I know I saw in term sheet this week that PitchBook had reported that AI has amounted to 40% of deal count in
Mm,
Q3. So that seemed about right from, just
yeah,
the amount of AI I hear about on a daily basis.
yeah. I would say so, and they're looking at it from a holistic perspective. Every category
Yep,
in our space,
probably higher.
it's probably higher. I really don't even. It's almost pointless to track because everything is sort of AI. Anything
Yeah.
new, like you've got to have an AI story, you've got to
Mhm.
have AI. So it's probably, it's got to be there. I haven't seen a deal that's just like a pure SaaS play without AI. So it's got to be in the 80 to 90 percentile. You still have services businesses and things that every now and then you see a deal. It's encouraging, but for the most part, everything's got AI. All of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I believe it. All right. So our last story of the week, which was everywhere, was Sora,
Yeah.
which was pretty much inescapable because they, I think, surpassed ChatGPT in downloads this week, which I didn't download it. Did you download it?
I never download those things when
No,
they come
no,
out.
I'm old. But it's kind of, I have seen, obviously
Yeah,
just perusing my socials, as they say, some of the videos, and they are pretty terrifying.
they
So,
are. And
yeah,
hilarious. Some of them are terrifying and hilarious.
yes, yes, I will say that. They are
Yeah.
funny. But what do we think about the future of AI with that in the mix?
Well, I guess it's kind of scary.
Mhm.
There was also something in the courts this week, or it wasn't the courts, but it was OpenAI sort of doing an about face on individuals needing to give their permission for their likeness to be used, which is kind of like the cow's out of the barn at this point. Like, I don't know. That sounds good. I'm not sure that it means much, but it's frightening because the things that are scary and or hilarious are generally using somebody's likeness, and depending on which side of the humor you're on, you're either disgusted or laughing about
Yeah,
what you're seeing. A lot of it's political, so I think Hollywood is just continues to be put on notice. The whole film industry, TV. Did you see the story? It's I guess it's somewhat related. There's an actor who is an AI, I guess
hmm
more than an avatar. We'll call her an avatar. And like agents are trying to represent this entity that was created by someone via prompts, I guess. And
yes.
that's just a big PR play, I think, but it speaks to where things might be going. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. There's actually there's a really great clip I saw of Fran Drescher, also known as the nanny. She's the president of SAG-AFTRA, the Screen Actors Guild, and they asked her a question about that AI actress, and she responded something about basically what does it say as a larger issue, not just this AI actress, but what does it say about humans that
Mm,
we're relying on AI so heavily when we know what it does to us and what it's doing to the environment, what it's doing to our creativity, what it's doing to jobs, what it's doing, like why have we opened Pandora's box in this way? Um, and like, you know, once you've opened Pandora's box, you can't put the lid back on it. Was
right.
kind of her point. Like, why are we allowing this to happen?
Yeah.
And, I thought the way she said it was much more eloquent than that summary that I just gave. But I
Huh,
do
that was
encourage
good.
you to look up the quote from the clip of her because, she raised some really good points about things have happened so quickly. It's rolling down the hill at this point.
Yeah.
And I think Sora, again, some of it's funny, some of it's terrifying, and there are some bad actors in the world who are going to be using it for really bad purposes. And I just don't think we have enough regulations right now for things
Yeah.
like that, at least in the US.
No, 100%. And somebody, it was Scott Galloway on Pivot, I guess maybe the earlier in the week, was saying, it's not just about the actors, it's not just about the directors, It's also about the crew people. It's about the people doing hair and makeup. It's about the people providing coffee to the studios.
Mhm.
It's an entire economy that's
Mhm.
built around, and it's not just about Hollywood. It's everywhere. There's a good aspect of it, which is people with fewer resources can do some creative things, like from an animation perspective or something. But we need, to your point, regulations on, if you're creating an actor, you're using a body of work to create that actor, and that's not your body of work.
Mhm.
That's every actor that's come before you. It's so complex.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you think we end up with regulations, or do you think we go too far?
I don't know that anyone's focusing on it right now is the problem.
Yeah.
I think there's someone should be, but I don't know that anyone is. And I think by the time we do, it's too late. So I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
But, hopefully,
Yeah.
I think the EU got ahead of a lot of this. And unfortunately, we did not follow suit. So maybe the states will at an
Right.
individual level. So, I mean, obviously, we know like New York has Local 144 and California just passed. I'm not going to remember the numbers, but they just enacted that law a few weeks
That's
ago.
right.
So yeah, so maybe the states will start to put these regulations in place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
so I think that concludes our
That
first
covers it.
episode. Look
That
at that.
does.
We did it.
That covers it.
All right. So how are we going to wrap this up? You got anything good for the week or anything bad, a pit or a peak?
When I think about that phrase, the pit and the peak, I can't get past the pit.
Okay.
It's that regardless of where you are on the political spectrum, things are so paralyzing right now. And I spend a lot of energy trying to, focus on my work and then not get distracted, and I get distracted, and I want to be aware, but I don't want to feel bad, but I've got to be aware. I've got to be in the know, and everything is so scary and just paralyzing right now. I don't know how else to put it. And that's my pit. Things really, they have to change. I don't know if it's going to happen soon, but yeah, I just pretty much have a pit in my stomach all the time right now.
I would say that's a pit. So I'm going to try to end us on an uplifting note with a peak. And heading into this weekend, I know the John Candy documentary, which George, you've already seen,
Yep.
is now officially streaming. So I'm
Yes.
going to watch that this weekend because I know there's a nor'easter heading for the East Coast. So this seems like a
Oh,
good time to hunker down and watch some movies.
you had a peak and then you brought in a pit. I didn't know there was a nor'easter heading for us.
Well,
Okay. All right.
it's
It's not
it's
winter yet.
no, it's not.
So
No, it's just some rain. So it's a good time
yeah.
to watch some movie. It's fall. Maybe
Right.
some. Do you like horror movies? Maybe watch some horror movies. Yeah.
I'm going to watch I saw one of the pre-release events here in New Jersey and New Brunswick. They aired it, and we went to see it. And I'm going to watch it again, the Candy thing, because, you know, it was an event and it was in the theater and people moving around. So I really do want to, it's good. It's so good. If you love him at all, you'll love that movie, that
Maybe a
doc.
John Candy like marathon this weekend. There we go. There's a
Yes.
peak.
Yeah. There's a peak. There you
There's a
go.
peak. Let's
There you
end
go.
on that. All right, George.
All right.
That's where
Thanks,
we
Kate.
end it. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Until next time.
Thanks for tuning in to the WorkTech podcast. Visit us at oneworktech.com and find out why WorkTech is considered the most trusted source of market intelligence and strategic advice for WorkTech. Subscribe to the WorkTech YouTube channel for video episodes and exclusive content. And be sure to check out the entire Work Defined podcast network at WRKDefined.com for more podcasts on the world of work.